Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on Digimon Ghost Game, episodes 40 and 41. Episode 40 is titled Spiral Beach. So the episode opens with us getting a look at what our problem for this episode is going to be. And we hear a voice saying something, I don't remember exactly what she's saying, and then things just start twisting. So like stop signs or benches or all kinds of things just start spinning around and spiraling. And in this opening scene, first of all, we see a guy in a truck, right? And this drives me insane. He's in his truck at a stoplight, and the stoplight starts twisting. And what does he do? He gets out of his truck and runs. Why? Like, if something's actually there, dude, drive away. Your truck moves way faster than you do. And if something starts happening to the truck, then you get out. You don't get out now. That drives me insane. So we don't get a look at the Digimon here, and this whole first half of the episode, I'm racking my brain trying to think of who it could possibly be, because I can't think of any Digimon with a spiral theme. The only Digimon related thing, it's not even actually a Digimon, is the Eaters from Cyber Sleuth, and I knew they weren't going to be in here, so I couldn't figure out who the Digimon was going to be. And when it finally gets revealed at the halfway point, it's neat to see that Digimon here. The reason why they're doing the spiraling thing is silly, but we'll get to that, I guess. So after that opening scene, we go to Hiro and Gamamon, and Hiro has lost all the data for his homework because Gamamon chewed up his tablet. And he tries to talk to Gamamon about it, but Gamamon is being a bit of a brat about it and doesn't want to admit that it was him. I don't know if this sound has a word for it, but you know when somebody just makes a grunt and then turns their head, they just go, and turn their head. That's what Gamamon does most of this episode whenever Hiro tries to talk to him. So here, Gamamon's just being a bit of a brat. And then Espimon shows up, and he's the one that drags Hiro and the rest of the group that goes this episode into the problem. Espimon was out looking for the real Hiro, because he's still on that, doesn't think Hiro's the real one. And while he was there, he was at this beachside town where everything started getting twisted, and his arm got all twisted up. So he has come to Hiro looking for him to help. The group we get this episode that actually goes is an interesting one. Hiro and Gamamon, obviously, but they're sort of bickering right now. Espimon, because it's his issue, he needs their help. And then only Jellymon. Kyoshiro's busy, he couldn't come. Ruri had school stuff, so she can't come, and Angoramon stayed with Ruri. So we've got an interesting group here. We also get an explanation of Espimon's search for Hiro. I don't remember if it really got touched on last time he showed up, or the first time he showed up. I don't remember how many times Espimon showed up yet. But anyway, they're on the train going to this town, and Hiro asks him something about, or says, you know I am the real Hiro, right? And Espimon's just no, you're not. Hokuto said that Hiro, his son, looks exactly like him. You don't look anything like him. And so Jellymon basically explains, alright, Espimon's looking at this as a Digimon would, where if you say somebody looks like you, they look like an exact copy. So it's hey, my friend Ogremon looks like me, and he's an Ogremon. It's okay, obviously he's going to look exactly the same. So Espimon just sees humans as a species, I guess, or something, or he's just confused. But we get an explanation for that. So we get to this little beachside town, and Gamamon is being a brat still. He doesn't really want to hang out with Hiro. He wanders off on his own and meets a young girl named Rin, who is just out looking for twisted up things. She talks about how last night her hair got all twisted, and she can't straighten it out. And so her and her pet dog are just around looking for twisted things. And Gamamon and her become friends, and Gamamon eventually ends up going to spend the night with her at her house. And then at night we get more twisting. So the funniest bit is when Jellymon wanders off on her own all the time. And at night, while they're all in this town, she just finds a bunch of I don't know what they were. They're jars or vases. They're just stacked up. There's just a pile of them. And she just goes into one and is like, oh, this is really comfortable. Let me just sleep here. And she just takes a nap. And while she's in there, the twisting starts. And so we get like this really funny scene where we see Hiro, and then we just see Jellymon tap him on the shoulder. And when he turns around, we just see Jellymon like all twisted up. And it was funny. So anyway, we eventually get the reveal of... Well, also, not just Jellymon got twisted up this time. Like, people started getting twisted up now. It's not just inanimate objects. It escalated. So we see, like, a cat that's all twisted up. Eventually we see Rin and, like, her family are all twisted up. And while the problem of this episode isn't, like, a very permanent one, it's very... like the worst part was when like the people were twisted up and it looked really awful. There's a part where like Rin is crying because her body's all twisted up. She's freaking out, and her mother like tries to like hears her and tries to go see her and just falls because she can't walk. Yeah, the twisting is unsettling. It's not as bad as the what is the Ryudamon episode? I don't remember what that Digimon was called, where they were like weird abominations, but it was still pretty gross. Anyway, the Digimon for this episode is revealed, and it is Calamarmon from Digimon Frontier. I forget what the forms are for the Frontier Digimon. There's like the human spirits and beast spirits, right? So Calamarmon is the beast spirit for Ranamon, I believe. And the reason for her twisting everything, and this is the part that's dumb, is when she came from the real world from the digital world to the real world, the portal was like spiraling, and she's like, oh, spirals are beautiful, let me make everything twisted. That's it. And then Hiro even asks Jellymon, it's like, is the portal from the digital world to here really like that? And Jellymon's like, I don't know, it was like 2 seconds, and then I was here, I don't remember it. So that's why she's doing it. Gamamon, who had talked with Rin the night before all the twisting really started again, and she had been like, hey, you gotta make up with your friends, and Gamamon's like, alright, I'm gonna go make up with Hiro, solve the problem, and save the friend that I made. And that's basically it. He runs up, he's crying, he apologizes to Hiro, they digivolve, they fight, and they beat Calamarmon. And I forget what is his name? Gamamon's ultimate. I can't remember it. Cannon Weissmon. There we go. Cannon Weissmon's one of his attacks, I don't remember what it is, but where it's like all the light beams shoot out of his wings. She gets defeated by that, and she's like, oh, straight lines, they're so beautiful. And so now she's not obsessed with twisting things anymore, and so she leaves. Calamarmon was fun. Her issue was silly. But, like, the way she was, like, how animated she was. Like, not the animation itself, but, like, the way she moved around and was, like, spinning and, like, her voice actress was really good. And, like, for a one-off villain that I don't expect to ever come back, she was actually kind of memorable. And it's a shame that she won't come back, because I do think the voice actress and the way she was, like, her attitude was really interesting and could be fun to come back to. But yeah, that's episode 40. It was okay. The reason for the twisting was silly, but the actual twisting of people and like animals and stuff itself was interesting looking. And also, I'll mention this. There's one part when everything gets untwisted. This isn't important at all, but there's a moment where there was a cat that was all twisted, and I just like the way they animated it untwisting, because it didn't just like twist back and then it's on its feet. Like, it's like back legs twisted around or something, and like when it was twisted back into shape, it just like landed on its back. Because a lot of the times in this, it's like, all right, the problems are solved, and now everyone's just like standing on their feet or something. But yeah, just a little animation thing there I thought was neat. Anyway, that's episode 40. 41. This one is titled Clown. So right away, it's like, all right, I know exactly who this is going to be, and they didn't even try and hide it. Like right away, it's like, all right, it's Piedmon. So the opening scene is Piedmon standing on he's not standing on a tightrope, right? There's the tightrope, and then there's 2 platforms between it for where people can stand normally. He's standing on one side, and then he's got a kid with the little stick they use to balance themselves on the other side. And he's like, hey, walk across. Come on, walk over to me. And the kid falls, and he gets turned into a playing card. And Piedmon is just collecting kids and turning them into cards, and he's building a full deck of cards. We actually get a lot of Digimon in this. It reminds me kind of the Myotismon episode, or even the... what is the little devil Digimon called? I don't remember. I think it was the one where Angoramon finally digivolved into Champion, right? I don't remember his name, but we get like a lot of Digimon as like Piedmon's followers in this. We got Flowizardmon, which is the Fire Wizardmon, Tobocatmon, Possumon, Mephismon, and Lynxmon. And they're sort of like a part of his circus. We get a scene where Hiro and everybody except Kyoshiro again, he left, are at the circus viewing it, which is where like Piedmon and his followers set up this circus. They hand out little cards to people that they pick, and then there's a QR code, and you scan it, and then that basically signals them to come pick those kids up to bring them to the thing where Piedmon then turns them into cards that night. So Ruri takes one of those cards when she wasn't really supposed to, and ends up getting... Well, Angoramon gets taken, and then Ruri and Hiro and... What is it? Just Gamamon. Just the three of them go to save Angoramon. Angoramon gets turned into a rabbit, and like I like that. As soon as Angoramon sees Piedmon, he's like, "Oh my, Piedmon is here!" Like, we're screwed. Like, how are we supposed to do anything about this? I like how they built up Piedmon as like this big threat, and we don't defeat him in a fight, which is cool. But also he's defeated in a way that is like it felt satisfying enough. But I like how Piedmon is built up as this threat, and it's like, all right, we are, like, Piedmon is way too strong for us. Like, I don't know how we're getting out of this one. So Piedmon is building a deck. In the digital world, he builds a deck out of Digimon. In the real world, he builds a deck out of people. Makes sense. And he's got like it lives by the rules. Like the strong set the rules, right? So I'm stronger than humans. So I can do what I want. And then, I don't remember if it was Hiro or Ruri who were like, well, how do you know you're stronger than humans? Have you taken on a human? And he just stops. He's like, you know what, you're right. I haven't. Well, we'll play a game. So Hiro and Gamamon are fighting Piedmon's other followers. Ruri, who is trying to save Angoramon, challenges Piedmon to a game. And his followers seem really, like, upset about this because they really want to play against Piedmon for some reason. I don't really know why. But basically, like, you're going to play this kid in this game? Like, we want to play a game with you. And he's like, all right, if whoever beats the Digimon over there, I'll play you later. And they all jump at that chance. It's like, all right, cool. We want to play a game against Piedmon. So the game they play is just like a card game where I think each side gets 6 cards, and one person flips one, and then the next person flips one, and whoever has the highest card wins. And so there's 5 rounds of that. So you've got 6 cards, 5 rounds. And so it's just back and forth. Ruri raises the stakes. Like, it was originally just like, all right, I'll free Angoramon, and she goes to touch one of the cards, and like she hears the kid's voice that has been turned into the card, and she's like, all right, you gotta free these kids if I win. And he's like, all right, well, I'll also raise the stakes. And so every time a round is won, if Piedmon wins, he throws like a light like sword into Betel Gamamon, and if Ruri wins, he'll throw one of his swords into one of his own Digimon. So it's neat. So we get like a back and forth where it's like, all right, flip a card, all right, who wins? And then the sword, and it goes and pierces one of the guys. Like, yeah, it's not a fight. Like, we get like a little tacked on fight at the end. Like, we got Betel Gamamon fighting in the corner, and then Ruri eventually wins the game, obviously. Piedmon frees Angoramon, or like turns him back to a Digimon after turning him into an actual rabbit. And Mephismon is like, this can't be happening. Like, there's no way Piedmon lost to you. And so he just starts attacking Ruri. And they quickly digivolve into, what is it? Angoramon, Simbar Angoramon. Wow, I can't remember any of the evolutions this video. Lamortmon. And then we get like a little scuffle there, and then Piedmon steps in and is like, alright, hey, I'm sorry for my subordinate. You won. A deal's a deal. I'll free the kids. And so at the end of the episode, Ruri's just like, you can't make cards out of kids anymore. And he's like, alright, the strong rule, and I'll follow. And that's how they win. They beat him in a game. It was a good episode. I liked it a lot. I like how they built up Piedmon as like an actual threat. Like, it's funny how Piedmon is just a clown, but he's treated seriously. They don't make a joke out of him. Like, and it's also interesting that Ghost Game and Digimon Survive ended up coming out so close, because now there's been 2 Digimon in this show and in that game that got like a important role, right? There was the Arukenimon episode in here, which was a very good episode, and Arukenimon was a major player in Digimon Survive, and then Piedmon was also a major character in Survive, and then here, and in both, they're both treated as like threats. So that's really cool. Like, I like how Piedmon was handled. I like how we can't defeat him in a fight, but he likes to play games, and we'll beat him in a game. So that was well done. There was something else I wanted to mention that I forgot, but I don't remember what it is, and I can't find a note for it. Well, I can't think of it, and I can't see a note for it. So I guess that's going to do it for this video. 2 good episodes. They were pretty good. Calamarmon, her motivation was weird, but the actual episode itself was pretty good. The Piedmon episode was really good. I liked what he was doing. He's super powerful, and like super powerful things are just going off, doing what they want because they can. Like, I'm the strongest one here. I can do whatever I please. Like, nobody can stop me. And then he gets defeated, and he's like, all right, I believe that the strong rule, and I'm no longer considered the strongest. I'll do what I'm told. I like that. I also, the way, again, right at the end, the animation in this, like, the way they disappear, where he just, like, grabs a cloth or whatever and, like, twists it, and the whole circus is just gone, was neat. Anyway, 2 good episodes. Episode 41, 40, and 41. Really good. Ghost Game, still enjoying it a lot. Yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.